I told myself it was just a season. Friendship shift, right? But that day, sitting there, surrounded by the people I loved, I felt like I was quietly being erased. So I found new people, new laughs, but it did not fit. It also felt like stitching circles around old scars, fake smiles over real losses. And then it got obvious. The invites stopped. The calls slowed down. No dramatic exit, just silence. And I kept pretending not to notice. I turned to the memories, photos, voice notes, group chats I couldn't delete. I thought if I held on tight enough, they wouldn't let go of me. But they already had. I texted, I checked in, but most replies came late. Or not at all. I kept reaching across a distance that only I seemed to feel. My birthday came. No calls, no knock at the door. Just me. And the kind of quiet that finally told the truth I've been avoiding all along. I was surrounded, but still unseen. They stopped asking how I was. I had become invincible even to the people I once called home. Funny how you can be in the picture and still feel like you've been cropped out. I smiled for the memory, but something about me already knew I did not belong there anymore. I still called, not because I expected an answer, but because a part of me still hoped they would remember who I was before silence became the only sound between us. They will laugh like nothing was missing, and maybe nothing was to them. Standing behind the glass replays every memory in my mind, wondering how something that used to feel like home could now go on so easily without me. I sat with God and asked what I did wrong, why the ones I covered in prayer, who knew my heart, let me bleed like I meant nothing. I begged for a word, a whisper, a reason, but heaven was quiet, and that silence hurts more than their absence. I now replay the memories to feel so close again, but they've changed. They don't hold me anymore. They haunt me because they remind me how deeply I was loved and how quietly they replaced me. I still read our old messages again, word for word, like they still meant something, but I was the only one reading and remembering, hoping for a text that was never coming. But I'll keep showing up. I kept smiling. I kept saying, "It is okay. I get it." Until one night, I broke, collapsed under the weight of what I didn't say, and there was no one to catch it. No one but God. And the pain, it pushed me into letting go. But it was not that simple. This was not just closure for me. It was a funeral of expectations. I had to give up defending them when people asked, "Are you still close?" Because my excuses started to sound tiring. I had to admit that the shift had already happened, and that made me free. My hands no longer hold proof of friendship, photos, invites, and promises. Now they are empty, and maybe that's okay. Empty can sometimes mean I'm finally free to receive something new. Checking in, praying, and circling back with them stopped. I stopped hoping for a shift because some parts are not for fixing. Some are for walking away with your dignity intact. Then life became quiet. No noise, no closure. Just the stillness that comes when God closes a chapter without waiting for your permission. And healing didn't show up with a grand revelation. It looked like a deep breath after weeks of holding back tears. It looked like not checking their page anymore. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally chose me. I passed the place where we used to laugh for hours, but I did not feel angry. I did not feel much as well. And that was when I knew God had done something I couldn't. He detached me gently. And when it rained, I didn't rush inside. I stood there, let it hit my face, felt the sting of release, felt God's mercy in every drop. Some storms come to flood, others come to cleanse. The next morning, I thought I would wake up powerful. I woke up empty, but I took a step anyway, not because I was over it, but because I finally accepted that some people really are just for a season. And when God lifts the grace, He expects your feet to follow. And in the stillness, God didn't send closure. He did not send them back. He sent clarity. He began to show me again, not the girl who shrank to be loved, but the one he called before I ever tried to fit in. There was a day I entered a room and didn't shrink, didn't search for their faces, didn't calculate my tone. I just breathed. And that breath felt like something God waited years for me to take, because I belonged not to them, but to Him. And joy came back, not the loud kind, but the kind that doesn't need to be posted to be real. The kind that comes when you stop begging to be chosen and remember you already are. I stopped checking the page, stopped rehearsing what I'll say if they reached out. They didn't, and I still prayed for them. But I don't wait anymore. I release in love and in peace. The memories still live here, but hey, they don't control the room anymore. They remind me I was loyal and present. I gave all I could, and when it was time, I walked away with grace. There was a time I only saw myself through their consistency. Now I look in the mirror and I whisper, look at what God kept alive. Look what He preserved. It didn't destroy me. It delivered me. And the same God who sat with me in silence is the one who is now watching me dance. It still hurts that He did not restore the friendship, but glad that He restored me. This season I'm in, it's not revenge. It's not performative. It's real. It's recovery. And it's peace. And peace doesn't need permission to stay. The blessings didn't come loud. They came soft like petals. One answered prayer at a time. One quiet door opening. And I realized God hadn't forgotten me. And when I finally walked through that next phase in life, I did not cry. I also did not look back. Because I understood then I had spent so long begging God to bring them back. But the whole time, He was trying to bring me back instead. To anyone still holding on, you are not weak for loving deeply. You are not wrong for noticing the shift. But when God lifts the grace, it's not rejection, it is redirection. Some friendships aren't meant to last. They were lessons, not lifelines. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you are trusting God to bring you back to who you were before you begged to belong. So breathe, let it fall, and walk forward, not bitter, but free.